What is going on, guys? JD from New York here. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel this afternoon. This is, of course, the #1 professional wrestling podcast right here on YouTube.com for everything WWE. This is Off the Script for your Saturday, November 4th, 2017. Everybody is still, to this day, 1 week later, talking about the release of Emma. Today, I have the real reason why Emma was released from the WWE. I got more news on more releases coming to the WWE. In fact, one notable name from NXT has been released as of Saturday afternoon. We're going to go over all that today on Off the Script. I got news on Lio Rush. Lio Rush sent out those tweets last weekend in light of Emma's release. A lot of people calling for his head after he tweeted out what he said. And now I got news on what Lio Rush is going through down at the Performance Center in NXT. So we're going to go over all that. I also got news on Toni Storm. I got news on AJ Styles and Jinder Mahal for Tuesday's WWE Championship match. And I got a stipulation now added to a new match taking place on Monday Night Raw between Elias and Jason Jordan. All that, plus so much more right here on Off the Script for your Saturday afternoon. I want to thank everybody, as always, for showing support for yesterday's video. Man, it did great numbers in the first 24 hours. If you guys want to go and check that out, this is the thumbnail right there. Lesnar versus Mahal, canceled. One can only hope for the Survivor Series. Shane McMahon making an announcement on social media this week saying that Jinder Mahal will indeed defend the WWE Championship against AJ Styles for his actions this past Tuesday on Smackdown Live. Jinder Mahal could possibly, not going to say definitely, I wish it was a definitely, I wish there was more confidence in me saying that to you guys, but there is a possibility that Jinder Mahal could lose the WWE Championship 2 weeks out from the Survivor Series, and instead of Jinder versus Lesnar, we could get Styles versus Lesnar. So if you guys want to go check out Off the Script for Friday, episode 194, part number 1, and you guys want to hear my opinion on all the possible scenarios leading into Tuesday night's big WWE Championship match, then go watch Off the Script. It is live on the channel right now. Video will be within this video in the annotation that you see in the top right corner of your screen. So make sure you guys go and check that out today after you finish watching part 2 of Off the Script. Follow me on Twitter at JDFROMNY206. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below and make sure you turn on that bell for all notifications, man. Today's podcast is sponsored by the fine people over at Audible. If you guys are a new listener to the podcast, Audible is giving you guys 30 days free. Yes, 1 month free of Audible just for listening to the bullshit that comes out of my mouth. Plus, on top of that, they're going to give you 1 free audiobook of your choice. Right now, I highly recommend the Jim Ross book. I was listening to a podcast yesterday from my good friend Justin LaBar over at Wrestling Reality, which you guys can subscribe to on iTunes. Justin, last weekend, actually interviewed Jim Ross for 30 minutes outside of a book signing he did in Pennsylvania in a Barnes & Noble. And it was a very, very, very great sit-down interview with LaBar and Jim Ross. It was like two buddies just talking wrestling. You know, LaBar asked him a few simple questions, and Jim Ross just ran with it. And in the context that Jim Ross was talking, there was a lot of information and a lot of insight to what his mind is going through right now with his current status in the WWE, with where WWE sits right now, where the youngsters in the Performance Center are at, and what he used to do and what he used to say to Vince McMahon and the interactions that he and Vince McMahon had while he was a talent scout for WWE. So if you guys want to go dive on into the world of Jim Ross and what his mind is thinking right now, go listen to that podcast. But you guys can also listen to Jim Ross himself. 11 hours of audio spoken by Ross himself for his new audiobook, Slobberknocker, which you guys can get for free using our link, audibletrial.com/offthescript. It's a great way to support the show, and I highly recommend you guys go and do that if you guys want to get something for free and support Off the Script at the same time. If you guys feel that Audible is not for you, you guys can cancel within the 30-day free trial and still get to keep your audiobook on the house for free. So that's audibletrial.com/offthescript. Few things I want to make a note of. I know a lot of people have been asking me, JD, where's my career mode for WWE 2K18? Where's universe mode? Career mode will be returning next week live on YouTube, so you guys have that to look forward to. I might wait for December for the universe mode to debut on Twitch. For that, I want to keep up to date with the current calendar in WWE, so I might wait till after the Survivor Series. So we'll probably start it up in December, so look forward to that. Obviously, keep an eye on my Twitter for any updates, as usual, as it pertains to anything for the channel. And the release of Call of Duty World War II has been met with heavy criticism, man. I have been playing World War II. I'm I'd say about 3 hours in multiplayer. I'm about level 32, I believe, on my first prestige. The launch of the game was met with major server issues, and a lot of people are asking me, where the live stream's at. You're going to be doing Call of Duty videos. Yes, I will be, but you guys got to understand, I don't want to give you something as far as the game goes when I know it's broken. Like the game, you can physically play the game. The mechanics aren't all there, but it's playable. The fact that Activision and Sledgehammer Games added the headquarters. It's like, just picture the tower in Destiny, the social spaces in Destiny. That's what they're trying to do with World War II. So they gave you a bunker, this headquarters with a bunch of activities and tasks and contracts and just a big social space for everybody to just hang around in before you actually get into a full-fledged match or a game. Team deathmatch, kill, confirm, domination, whatever you guys want to be playing over there. But a lot of people are attributing that to the server issues because it's something new that Call of Duty has added to the game, and it takes a lot out of the servers, and it's a trial and error process. Blah blah blah. You heard the same old song and dance from these people. If Destiny's launch went perfect, there was a little problem getting into Destiny on night one because so many people were trying to get in, but there was really nothing wrong when you actually got in the game. There's updates every single week for them making sure the servers are right and balanced and issues don't happen. But every single year when Call of Duty has a new game, it's the same fucking issues. On top of that, you get into a game and you're glitching and you're lagging and it's this and it's that and you shoot 20 fucking bullets at one guy and none of them hit, but then you're melted before you can even blink your eyes. I mean, it's the same shit every single year. People were even going as far as to just go on this conspiracy kick where, guys like Nadeshot and Hollow Point and all these big, YouTube guys were playing Call of Duty while the general public, the paying customer, couldn't get on. They were making excuses that the big-time guys were on, and the paying customer, the truthful voice, wasn't allowed to get on yet. There was a bunch of shit being said and a bunch of shit being thrown around. I will be live streaming it once it settles down. Once they, initiate a few patches and a few bug fixes. I will be streaming it on YouTube for the first time. I will be doing Road to Prestige. I will be doing streams on Twitch like I usually do when it comes to Call of Duty, but I don't want to present a broken game. And the most frustrating thing about it is when you finish a game, if you're lucky enough to get in a game and you're lucky enough to finish a full game, you can't even get back to the main menu to fix your character before the next match starts. It just leaves you on the scoreboard and it throws you right back into the next game. You can't set up your classes, you can't put on an attachment, you can't put on your perks, you can't customize your character, you can't set up your score streaks. It just throws you right back into a next game, and it continues to happen over and over and over. And sometimes when you actually finish a game, the end game scoreboard it just stays there for a good 10 minutes before it throws you back into the main menu, and then it doesn't even let you get to your character. There's a bunch of bugs. So I'm not going to be streaming it, and I'm not going to be showcasing it right now until things are somewhat fixed, because I want it to be a pleasant experience, or somewhat pleasant experience for me, where I don't have to wait too long, and a pleasant experience for you guys, so you guys can get the most action out of the stream without waiting and being bored and just saying, fuck this shit. I don't want to wait around 15 minutes for him to find a lobby, you know? That's why I haven't done Road to Glory, because I'm still hearing that it's still taking 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes to find a multiplayer lobby or a match in Road to Glory for 2K18. That's why nobody really hasn't done Road to Glory when they started out doing Road to Glory on YouTube, because it's the same feeling amongst the community, you know? These games have been shipped broken. These games have been shipped, not completed, you know? So, you guys are going to have to wait on that. Be patient. Content is coming. I'm home. You got all winter. You're going to get what you want. You're going to have some entertainment waiting for you in your sub boxes. Just be patient with it. I appreciate you guys being excited, but there's reasons why I do what I do, and that's the reason for that. The reason for Off the Script not being uploaded at 11 a.m., I've been having these terrible headaches, and I don't want to be making excuses for it, but last night I had a headache that honestly could have killed a fucking human being, man. I couldn't even get to sleep on time. But the headache today has seemingly gone away. It's still lingering here and there. I woke up this morning, I made myself some eggs, and I had a yogurt, and I had some water, and I had some coffee along with that. So I feel a little better today, but I've been getting these bad headaches, man, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's from stress. I don't know if it's from not sleeping. I don't know if it's from not eating right. I really don't know, but I really can't, or nor do I want to, talk about wrestling when I feel that way. So I apologize to you guys, but regardless, I would never go an entire weekend without uploading anything. So you guys are still going to get Off the Script regardless if it's at 11 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, whatever. You guys are going to get something in your sub boxes regardless of how I feel. So thank you for your patience on that as well. Let's get into the news, man. We're going to start off with the real reason why Emma was released from the WWE. Now, I'm sure you guys know this by now, unless you have been living under a rock or in a cave. As reported, WWE announced last weekend that Emma, Summer Rae, Darren Young were all released from the WWE. Summer Rae, no surprise to anybody, she really wasn't used on television outside of something with Tyler Breeze in a managerial role when he made his debut on Smackdown Live. Before that, all she did was hang around Ruru. And Rusev feuded with Dolph Ziggler, and they pretty much traded girlfriends. Summer Rae was with Rusev, and Lana was with Dolph Ziggler in that horrendous feud that happened. I'm sure you guys don't want to be reminded of that. Darren Young, I mean, the only notable thing he's done outside of the Nexus, which was years ago, has been the Primetime Players. A couple of runs as tag team champions with Titus O'Neil. But other than that, he has been injury-plagued, and he's gotten himself right. He looks fantastic. WWE surprisingly released Darren Young. I mean, he is the first, as far as I know, and my knowledge goes, he's the first openly gay WWE superstar. So, the fact that he has pretty much come out and stated that, I'm surprised that WWE let someone like that go because, you know, he could have been a very good ambassador, business-wise, for the WWE. So a lot of people were surprised on Darren Young just based on that fact alone. But the fact that he hasn't really been featured in anything important outside the Primetime Players with Titus O'Neil, I mean, you could see why WWE seen him as expendable and they cut their losses. They really weren't using Darren Young and Summer Rae on television. Emma is a different story. You know, Emma is still a surprise to everybody. Emma was just starting to receive a mild bump in her status on the main roster, winning an elimination match to ultimately lose to Asuka at TLC, and then get a rematch the very next night on Monday Night Raw. There's been a variety of speculation as to why Emma was abruptly fired from the WWE. Former WWE writer James McKenna, who was also a part of Pro Wrestling Sheet with Ryan Satin, provided a bit of clarity on the latest the Sheet podcast mini episode. McKenna stated that while he worked there, Emma was indeed difficult to work with. This was mainly due to her shooting down ideas that were being presented to her, which made it difficult for creative to write for her. What was considered the nail in the coffin for Emma's WWE release was the flop of the Emmalina character. Emmalina was reportedly the creation of Vince McMahon, which is why there was so much time invested in rebranding Emma. However, Emma reportedly did not like the character change, which left a very bad impression on Vince McMahon. The character was then dropped as soon as it debuted, and Emma returned back to her old Evil Emma gimmick. In a report from Sports Illustrated, it was indicated that Emma was released due to being part of backstage issues and conflicts. So that's two sources citing that Emma was difficult to work with. There's mention that Emma had considerable heat within the company and that she had created just enough enemies on the writing staff to lead to her exit. Emma was said to have often voiced her opinions in a certain way on Twitter, which didn't help her situation either. Basically, WWE used her release as an example for other superstars who might want to behave in a similar manner to Emma, who went from being featured on pay-per-view's main card to out the door within a week. No specifics were given as far as any heat between Emma and other superstars backstage, though. I don't think that Emma had any enemies backstage. A lot of people, a lot of the female performers in WWE came to Emma's defense, saying that they're going to miss her, that she's one of the hardest workers there, etc., etc. So I don't think she had any heat with the locker room. It was mainly with the writing staff and then ultimately Vince McMahon, which we'll talk about in a second. Emma's release came just a bit ahead of two other releases made by WWE, Darren Young and Summer Rae. They were also given their future endeavored pink slip. Neither of these superstars had been visible recently on WWE programming. Young was a former WWE Tag Team Champion with Titus O'Neil and was part of a gimmick with former WWE Champion Bob Backlund. Make Darren Young great again, they said. He never got a chance. Summer Rae participated in a few gimmicks, including a role as Fandango's dance partner and later having involvement with Rusev and Tyler Breeze. However, Emma got to participate in the debut match for Asuka on the main roster at WWE's TLC 2017, which gave her more visibility and a bit of a build heading into the match. She lost the match, which kept Asuka's winning streak intact. In addition, Emma didn't look weak in the loss, as she had a good bit of offense going through the pay-per-view match. Still, her backstage demeanor appears to be what cost her her spot on the women's roster for now. And the report says, for now. The Sports Illustrated report does mention the door is open for a possible return to the WWE in the future. Other women's stars, including Gail Kim, Mickie James, Maria Kanellis, have done just that, with varying degrees of success after their return to the WWE. In terms of overall superstars, Jinder Mahal and Drew McIntyre each exited the company and returned within the past year or so to become stronger champions on WWE's main roster in NXT. Drew McIntyre being the NXT champion currently, and Jinder Mahal being the failure he is on Smackdown Live, unfortunately wielding the WWE Championship title, which should be AJ Styles on Tuesday if things go right. Now, there's a lot to digest in all of that story. Okay, the main thing I want to focus on is Emmalina was reportedly the creation of Vince McMahon. I want to go into common sense mode here. Okay, from the fans' perspective, obviously, we all know what Emma is worth. We all know what Emma can do. We all know what Emma is capable of just by watching her in NXT. And then obviously, you know, her being transformed into evil Emma, it gave her a little bit more of an edge. And she became a possible future piece to the women's division, okay? We all know what Emma is capable of. We all know that Emma is a great wrestler, okay? As far as the women go in WWE. She's capable of a lot. She had a bright future ahead of her. The fact that Vince McMahon is creating, and you guys know I am not a Vince McMahon mark in any sense of the word. I cut down this product every single week. Okay? You guys know that, but I'm speaking in common sense here. I'm speaking in terms of logic. If Vince McMahon is your boss, and Vince McMahon comes to you, out of a sea of people he is paying, if you are the one talent that he is coming to, and he is coming to you with an idea he created, why would you not give 100%? That's the one thing I don't understand. You know, it takes a lot of balls in Emma's case to go against what Vince McMahon wanted her to do if indeed McKenna is saying that Emmalina was the creation of Vince McMahon. Why wouldn't you go into that rehearsal, or why wouldn't you go into that character 100% to make Vince McMahon happy? Why would you ever want to leave a bad impression on Vince McMahon? Why would you ever want any negativity to reside on the tongue of Vince McMahon as it pertains to you? I don't get that. I don't get that. Emma went into business for herself. You cannot disrespect Emma's feelings in this case. You can call her a little idiotic. You can call her a little stupid. You can call her ballsy, or whatever other term you want to use that would describe this situation. But deep down, you can't really disrespect Emma's feelings. If she knows she's worth more than just, tits and ass, and this Lana-esque, Sable-esque, Sunny-esque gimmick, then you gotta respect that. If Emma wants to wrestle, you gotta respect that. Now, I don't know why she didn't give Vince McMahon her undivided attention. I don't know why she didn't go into that 100% and make Vince McMahon happy. Maybe this was just something that was boiling over, and she took a chance and she really didn't give a shit about getting fired. I don't know. I don't know. The other thing I'm wondering is, if WWE is harping on Emmalina, which is now going on a year, right? This is going on a year. This was last year. Why are you harping on this now? And why are you bringing this to light now, after all this time? You put her on television. You put her in a position to go against Asuka. You have her go competitive against Asuka, and then you want to fire her, citing that Emmalina was the reason. That doesn't make sense to me. On top of what we already know, if WWE knew, which I believe that they did, because I don't know why they wouldn't, I don't know why you would have Emma go into those matches competitive if you already knew that you were going to fire her on that Sunday. Which in turn was only a negative for Asuka. I don't understand it. I really don't get it. If WWE was so pissed at Emma for the Emmalina nonsense, they wouldn't have never put her on television again. They would have released her 6 months after that happened. Why wait all this time? Why wait till now to do it? I don't get it. A lot of people are craving television time. There's a lot of talent on WWE television that's not on television. They're not being utilized. They want television time. If Vince McMahon, and you know how Raw is, you know how Smackdown is. There's talent on Smackdown that's not being used at all. If Vince McMahon is coming to you with television time to get yourself over and get your brand and your character over, why wouldn't you just gladfully accept that? Bad business move by Emma. It's respectable to have morals. It really is, because I'm the same way. It's respectable to have morals. But if Vince McMahon is coming to you with a character, a creation that he himself created and came up with and came to you about it, why would you ever shake your head no at the man? If you value your job, you say, yes, 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 yes. Thank you, sir, for allowing me this opportunity on television. But Emma, she thought otherwise. You can't disrespect Emma. You can't really fault her for her feelings. You know? And in turn, if Vince McMahon hates you, if Vince McMahon has a negative tone when he speaks Emma's name, then it's going to get down to the agents. Then the agents is going to get down to the creative team. And nobody's going to want to do anything for you. Nobody's going to want to do anything for you. Then she took it upon herself, which, I mean, doesn't really make sense to me. And it's a bullshit reason. You know, she takes it upon herself to start using hashtags, give Emma a chance, and take to social media to get fan support behind her. You know, that's all well and good, but she ain't no Daniel Bryan. You know, she ain't no heartthrob. She ain't no, she ain't no, I can't really think of a good analogy right now, but she isn't somebody that the entire universe is clamoring to get behind. You know, you got your Emma fan club and you got your Emma marks out there who are obviously going to follow and do what Emma says, but not everybody feels the same way about Emma. Some people don't even know who Emma is. Some people just don't give a shit about Emma. Some people don't like Emma. You know? Some people were given a bad taste immediately when they seen Emma popping the fucking bubbles down in NXT and then when she made her main roster debut several years ago. So that might have left a bad taste in people's mouths. Whatever the reason is, Emma took to social media to get herself over, and you guys know how WWE fucking hates that. You know? If it wasn't for Daniel Bryan being so fucking over with the audience, that would have never went down the way it did at WrestleMania 30. Obviously, CM Punk lended a hand in having that happen. What happened to... One of the things I always cite, look at what happened to Jack Swagger and Cesaro and their team with Zeb Coulter, the Real Americans. That team was fucking over and should have had several runs as tag team champions. They got over and the fans wanted more of that team. What happened? WWE fucking killed it. Killed it! Look at Bad News Barrett. Bad News Barrett was supposed to be a heel. The gimmick was supposed to be a heel, right? Bad News Barrett was getting over because he is genuinely entertaining. WWE didn't want it to get over that big. What did they do? They pulled the fucking plug. They pulled the plug. And I'm sure there are other situations like that where WWE just pulled the plug because it wasn't what they wanted. Ty Dillinger's another one, you know? They are now talking about turning Ty Dillinger heel just to kill the 10 chance. WWE, if you get yourself over with a gimmick and it doesn't fit into their plans, they're going to kill it because it's not what they want. It's pretty bullshit, isn't it? It's a bullshit ideology. And I don't know why WWE thinks that way. To me, the good businessman to me is the more people that are over, the better your business will be and the better the business will thrive. And the more superstars, on television that you can build up. And, out of all that, you could possibly have the next big one, You can't go on social media and, just display your bad feelings about the company. You can't go on social media and state your frustrations. But again, I don't understand why Alicia Fox did it on a podcast. She did it on Lillian Garcia's podcast, stating that I'm frustrated, I feel like an asshole, I feel like a loser. WWE doesn't even have a t-shirt for me, And then all of a sudden, she got a t-shirt. She's on Monday Night Raw. She's beating Sasha Banks, and now she's the captain of the Raw Women's team for Survivor Series. So it works for some, but it doesn't work for others. But where Emelina fucked up is she blatantly, personally disrespected Vince McMahon. That's what it all boils down to. Or you could just do the Neville route. They make a t-shirt for you. It looks like it was drawn up by a fucking 3-year-old, and then say, fuck this company, and just walk out. Or you could go that route. But Emma genuinely loved the WWE. This has been her lifelong dream to be in the WWE. And you know what? Emma is 28 years old. Emma is not going to, go away and never come back to the WWE. They always come back. The door is always open. Drew McIntyre came back. Look at the embarrassment that they put him through before they let him go. Then he went on to the independents, made himself a fucking massive name. WWE brought him back, and now he's the NXT champion. Look at Jinder Mahal. I don't want to cite him as being something great, but whatever the fuck he did, they let him go, and he comes back, and they were going to use him mainly as an enhancement talent, and now he's the WWE champion. Does he look the part? Yeah, it might not be real. It might not be natural, but he looks the part. He still can't wrestle, though, and he's a failure.
The make-believe Maharaja.
Gotta do it, man. I gotta do it. So that's my feelings on that. Emma, as far as her being 28 years old, where could she go? Where could she go? There's really not many places to work. I don't understand why anybody would want to go to Impact Wrestling. They're letting people go left and right. Their direction is fucking terrible. That place is nothing but a dumpster fire right now. I don't know why anybody would want to go to Impact Wrestling. You're not going to get over on Impact Wrestling. In fact, that might be a negative if you go to Impact Wrestling. Because who the fuck knows what Vince McMahon thinks about Impact Wrestling? Could she go to Ring of Honor? They got the Women of Honor over there, but I don't know how well that's going to work out for her. I don't know how much spotlight she's going to have over there. She could go overseas. She could go to maybe Stardom and Shimmer and something like that, make a name for herself out there. I don't think New Japan dabbles in the women's stuff, right? Emma is not going to be a Cody Rhodes. She could very well be. I don't know. If given an opportunity to go down that road, she could be the female version of what Cody Rhodes did. But not everybody's going to find the success that Cody Rhodes has found in the independents. Cody Rhodes, on top of being a WWE superstar like Emma, Emma doesn't have the family legacy. Cody Rhodes' family is wrestling royalty. So obviously Cody Rhodes is being treated the way he's being treated and booked the way he's being booked because it's a respect not only for Cody himself as a human being, but it's also a respect to his father and the family legacy of the Rhodes family. That obviously has a big part in that and a big part in Cody Rhodes' success in what he's doing on the independents. I don't think Emma is going to be the female Cody Rhodes, but she has an opportunity to make an impact on the independent scene wherever she goes at the young age of 28, open some eyes for 2 or 3 years, come back and still not even be in her prime and get another shot with the WWE. Look at Serena Deeb. She was fired because of her personal demons. She was fired for drug abuse. She was fired for alcoholism. WWE let her go. You think that this is the only year that the WWE is going to use the Mae Young Classic for the Women's Revolution? You think this is the only Mae Young Classic that we're going to have? No. They're already talking about doing another Mae Young Classic. What if in a couple of years, Emma builds herself up to such a status in the independents and Triple H sees that, wow, we let her go about 2-3 years ago. I want her back, And WWE brings her on in some type of redemption role, and they feature her in the Mae Young Classic, and then she's gifted another WWE contract. She's gifted another chance. Maybe this time away will give Emma time to rethink and reflect on what happened, the mistake that she made. She's still young. She's still 28 years old, This might be a good thing. In fact, this is gonna be a good thing for Emma. So look at it like that. Serena Deeb came back after all those years, and she still looked great in the Mae Young Classic. That could be the road that Emma travels down. We could see Emma in year 2 or year 3 of the Mae Young Classic getting another opportunity with the WWE. This is not the end. This is not the end of Emma's WWE run. She will be back, She made a mistake. She's going to prove herself in the independents. And then, just like always, if WWE is going to see that, or someone in NXT is going to see that, Triple H is going to see it, and they're going to bring her right back. The door is always open, It's a revolving door in the wrestling industry. If you're talented enough to be in the WWE the first time, there's no reason to believe that Emma is not going to be talented, even more talented, to be back there for a second run. So just look at it that way. So Emma will be back in the WWE, and I hope I went over that with some logic and some common sense for you guys, and I presented that to you in a great way. Now, Emma's release, backstage reaction to Emma's release. This past weekend, WWE released Emma, Darren Young, and Summer Rae. You guys know that. Emma's release was unexpected due to her feud with Asuka on the main roster. Regarding their match at TLC, many were both surprised and disappointed that she received as much offense as she did, especially since she does not have a consistent win-loss record, as if that really matters in WWE. It should, but they don't seem that see that as anything important. And she was just stating, that, or starting rather, to regain credibility as a Raw women's talent. Despite this, WWE once again placed the two on Raw against each other for a rematch, which nearly mirrored what the fans saw at TLC. As a result of this heavy offense from Emma, the belief backstage and through various outlets was that she would receive a mild push, as she was rumored to possibly compete against Paige upon her return, because Paige and Emma were two of the women who pretty much were there at the start, the very start of the women's revolution. So that would have made a very, very good feud for Paige to return on Monday Night Raw. However, these reported plans were obviously scrapped, as WWE felt Emma was expendable enough to be released from the company for now. Although Emma has not been a very strong presence on the main roster, with the exception of her matches against Asuka and a short women's revolution feud against Mickie James, she's been widely viewed as a solid hand and a good competitor in the ring. According to the Wrestling Observer Radio with Dave Meltzer, the backstage feeling towards this release was indeed shocking to many of her peers. In addition to wrestlers not being aware that she was going to be released, creative did not know either, as she was scheduled for upcoming appearances. In addition to the feud with Asuka, Emma was given a new theme music and a new entrance to enhance her character and depth to the small push she was receiving on Monday Night Raw. So, like I told you guys, when I first initially talked about this, the creative team did not know. It all started at the top, and the top didn't really even give a shit to tell the creative team about what was going on. And like I said, the people at the top don't care about anything but the green. They don't care about anything that happens on television, which is fucked up, because in turn it made Asuka's debut 1 week of negativity and people questioning so many things about Asuka, which is now the biggest thing in your women's division. So you got to treat that very carefully. And we talk about the creative direction for Asuka going into Survivor Series, which is giving WWE creative a headache. And I laid it out on the line. It should not be a creative headache whatsoever. It's very easy to book Asuka in Survivor Series if you guys want to go and do that. I talk about that in part 1 of Off the Script. So people did not see this coming. WWE reportedly used this release as a statement. Shut your mouth, do what you got to do, and, don't go on social media and complain about anything. So they used Emma as a scapegoat for others who may be thinking about following the same road she did, about complaining about their status if they're unhappy. So they just released her. And on top of that, like I said, all the Emelina stuff with Vince McMahon and her disobeying Vince McMahon and not giving 100% to Vince McMahon's creation. So that was that, but nobody's seen it coming, and a lot of people were taken back by Emma's release from the WWE. Lio Rush, speaking of release, was also almost released after his controversial Emma tweet following her release from the WWE. The WWE releases over the weekend weren't good news for several people. Fans and members of the WWE locker room were surprised by all these turn of events. Although Summer Rae and Darren Young's release were not surprising, and you're going to hear that in every article, those two releases were not surprising. So they'll find work. Summer Rae will probably go back to modeling. Darren Young, he's a WWE superstar. He can command some money on the independents, but he's not really going to make waves in the independents, So we'll see what happens with that. Darren Young and Summer Rae were not surprising. Emma's release came out of left field, like I just said. Dave Meltzer commented on Emma's release in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, saying that it was last minute. A last-minute decision, seeing how WWE booked Emma to give Asuka a run for her money on 2 occasions when she was probably just set up to be squashed, or should have been squashed, otherwise, if they knew her release was coming. But one guy might have stepped out of line during this entire situation, and his name is Lio Rush. L-I-O, goons, not L-E-O. He's not Leo, named after Leonardo the Ninja Turtle. It's Lio. L-I-O. Not Leo, the Ninja Turtle. Not Leo DiCaprio, the actor. Leo, L-I-O, clowns. How many people come to me and spell Leo Rush's name wrong? Give me a break. When he made a comment about Emma's release by saying, what happens when someone's not ready for Asuka, it angered a lot of people. Social media kind of exploded against him, and his name was trending for all the wrong reasons. Several people were livid at Rush for this comment, and even his apology couldn't save him from a public outcry. The Wrestling Observer newsletter and Dave Meltzer reported that after Leo Rush posted this social media message, there was backstage talk that he might be released as well in the hours following his social media fuck-up. Dave Meltzer wrote, and I quote, "Had he not apologized quickly, I don't think he'd still be with the company based on what we were hearing between the post and the apology," end quote. We all know it was a fuck-up. We all know that Leo Rush is 22 years old, he has a son, and he has another kid on the way. We all know that Leo Rush is a highly touted prospect in the world of professional wrestling that has found his home in NXT. You are a newbie. You are an outsider coming in. You are the definition of a rookie in WWE. Why you would even be on social media, number one, is just mind-boggling. B, why you would even open your mouth in the position that you're in is surprising in itself. Just blatant stupidity. You don't know Emma. You've never hung out with Emma. You don't know who Emma is. You never rode with Emma. You never worked with Emma. You never even shared a locker room with Emma, I don't think. So why would you go on social media with you being the rookie and you, I'm sure, knowing the camaraderie in the WWE locker room, and you know if you say something out of line that you are going to be attacked 1,000 times over? Why he would do that? He's immature. He's stupid. He's young. He's cocky. He's brash. So mistakes happen. People, though, were claiming that he fucking killed somebody. Okay? But he was out of line. We know that. He apologized. We know that. So take it for what it is. He apologized. It's over. Now he apologized. Great. Now I'm sure he's been talked to, which I'll talk about in a second. Great. Now he's going to go through a long process of hazing. Because everybody that steps in the ring with him is probably going to get a few cheap shots in. And by cheap shots, I mean stiff shots. So Leo Rush is going to pay. And if he comes to the main roster, I would not want to cross paths with those who he angered. Because if he gets in the ring, I don't know what will happen with those individuals. Oni Lorcan tweeted out publicly saying that when he gets Leo Rush in the ring, he will pay. So a lesson will be learned in more ways than one with Leo Rush with his controversial tweet. Now, he did tweet out again, did Leo Rush, and you can see it here on the screen. This is what he said last night. "A mistake should be your teacher, not your attacker. A lesson, not a loss. A temporary and necessary detour, not a dead end. And I can assure you this isn't the end. It's only the beginning. Live, learn, and move forward. Hashtag I came to collect. Hashtag prove 'em wrong." So Leo Rush, obviously apologetic. Obviously he was spoken to because he wouldn't have tweeted that out. Those are the cryptic tweets that were tweeted out from Leo Rush's Twitter. He will learn from this. He is still young. He still has a bright future. Don't go on social media and say anything about the company you work for or the peers that you are working with or potentially could be working with. Do not say anything negative about your colleagues unless it's for storyline reasons. Don't take personal matters to social media. Leo Rush, I'm sure, learned of all this. I'm sure he learned his lesson, and I look forward to still seeing him in the ring. He's a talented motherfucker. I'm telling you right now. You haven't seen anything from Leo Rush. He will still get his opportunity in WWE NXT. It's going to be a little bit, and he's going to go through the typical hazing process that a rookie goes through. So expect good things to come from Leo Rush, but not anytime soon, as he made a mistake, and now he has to pay the consequences for his actions, man. So that is Leo Rush on social media. Speaking of releases, Sawyer Fulton, if you guys remember him from Sanity, he's been released from WWE. Sawyer Fulton announced on Twitter that he has received his release from WWE. Fulton was an original member of Sanity. Unfortunately for him, an injury kept him sidelined for several months. Fulton had been wrestling at the Florida shows in recent months, and they didn't have much for him to do on the main shows. So he said on Twitter, and I quote, "Wow, there are a lot of feelings going through my head right now. First off, thank you to everyone who has supported me the last 5 years. Coaches, brothers, fans, family, and an amazing woman named Abby. This has been an absolutely amazing time in WWE. After my injury, I worked as hard as possible to come back, and it just happened to not work out. However, I am not ashamed of being released by any means. I held nothing back, and at the end of the day, I'm happy to leave with my head held high. I'm going to continue to work as hard as possible and learn all I can in wrestling. Nothing changes but the name." The last thing I said is to Canyon and Coach Bloom was that I am still young and I will be back in the WWE, and I fully intend to prove it. I want to be a great professional wrestler, and the goal will never change. Only the path that takes me there will. Honestly, I cannot wait to start down this new path and travel and wrestle in front of new crowds. WWE, NXT, thank you for all that you've done for me, and we will see each other again soon. And for all my brothers in the back, I'm sure we will make another town together in the future. I love you all. See you soon. End quote. Good positive vibes there by Sawyer Fulton. He was the definition of fucked due to injury, man. It wasn't even his fault. As soon as you went down, or as soon as you go down in wrestling or any promotion, you know, it's the spot that you're in, right? He had a comfy spot in Sanity. They were going to do big things with Sanity. They were getting ready for a big push for Sanity, right? Sawyer Fulton was a part of that. He went down with injury. They wanted a certain number of members in Sanity, so they went out and got Killian Dane and Ed Killian Dane to Sanity in replace of Sawyer Fulton. He never seemed to recover for that, or from that, you know? He didn't do anything wrong in the company. As far as what I could see, he was well-liked from what he stated here. I'm sure he was well-liked. I don't see him as being someone who was a troublemaker or ruffled any feathers backstage. He worked his ass off to get back from the injury, you know? Again, the door will be open for Sawyer Fulton. He can go to anywhere and build himself a new character, a solo act. Go over to Japan and do what Juice Robinson did. Juice Robinson was a nobody in NXT. Look at what he's doing now in New Japan, you know? The road in WWE is not the end of the road. If you're released from the WWE, there is so much to do in the independent scene right now. The independent scene is booming with opportunities for these guys to just go and make a name for themselves. Sawyer Fulton has an ample opportunity to do that. The door will be open for him if WWE finds interest in him and he works his ass off to get where he wants to be. The door will be open for Sawyer Fulton to come back from the WWE. But one thing we do know and all understand completely and in agreement with is that he was fucked over by injury. You know, his spot was taken away from him by the injury bug. WWE had to continue business and they replaced him. And then when he was ready to come back, they just didn't have anything for him. So good luck to Sawyer Fulton. He could be back in the WWE. I'm not going to say he will be back in the WWE, but this is an ample opportunity for him to create a new name for himself and make waves on the independents. More releases are coming soon outside of what you have already heard here. The big news, obviously, is Emma, Summer Rae, Darren Young, Sawyer Fulton. Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio does say that more releases are coming. It's worth mentioning that both Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, which we talked about on OTS Extra on Thursday, make sure you guys go and check that out. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson have removed any mention of WWE from their profiles on Twitter, except their handles, which, if changed, you lose your blue verified check. Anderson and Gallows lost the Trick or Street fight, don't remind me, on Raw to Heath Slater and Rhino. Not enough evidence to say that they are gone from the company, or if they want to be released from the company. Nobody knows what they are thinking, you know, but it could be a hint that they are frustrated. They could have easily walked through the curtain and said, yo, Vince, you know, what the fuck's going on here, man? I want something more important. Start booking us a little bit more seriously. So we'll see what happens with that, but more releases are coming, according to Dave Meltzer. Don't know who they might be, but obviously, if I hear anything, I will keep you guys up to date right here on Off the Script. There will be a guitar on a pole match announced for Monday Night Raw in Manchester. Good old Elias will be in a guitar on a pole match with Jason Jordan. Monday Night Raw takes place next week from Manchester, England. Taped show, so I will be off social media. The crowd will likely be very loud with passionate fans from the United Kingdom. We hope that their singing voices are ready because there is an interesting match coming on Monday. According to WWE's website, fans will get to see a guitar and a pole match on Raw. The match will be between Elias and Jason Jordan, who have been feuding over what, I don't know, for the past few weeks. Here is the statement from WWE.com after Elias blasted Jason Jordan with his guitar during their match 2 weeks ago. Jordan fired back last week and delivered a guitar counter assault. Accordingly, WWE.com has learned that the two superstars will come to Manchester, England this Monday to go head-to-head in a guitar on a pole match on Raw. How do you win it? The contest, which can only be won when a superstar retrieves the guitar and uses it on his opponent, promises to leave one of these competitors singing the blues. How cheesy. Could be fun. We'll see what happens. WWE always looking to reinvent the wheel here. Guitar on a pole match for Manchester, Raw, Elias and Jason Jordan. Can't wait for that one. And you can sense the sarcasm in my voice. Moving on, man. I have news on WWE and a possible stipulation being added to the Jinder Mahal AJ Styles match for the WWE title on Monday Night Raw. Now, I don't know what this means. I don't know how this is going to play into a possible finish. But, as you guys know, when we talked about this on part 1, news broke on Thursday that Smackdown Live in Manchester will feature a WWE Championship match. Jinder Mahal will be defending his WWE title against AJ Styles. Shane McMahon announced this match after Jinder's attack on Styles this past week on SmackDown. Styles was originally scheduled to face Rusev for a spot on SmackDown Survivor Series team. It appears that the match was either scrapped or pushed back another week. The Manchester Arena is currently advertising Jinder versus Styles for the WWE title, but a stipulation is attached. The stipulation being advertised for the match is a street fight. Also, Manchester Arena is advertising what looks to be the dark match after the show goes off the air. Randy Orton, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Bobby Roode versus Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Dolph Ziggler. The card is subject to change, but it would be interesting if this ends up being a street fight. We won't know unless A, WWE says something on Twitter, or B, we come to SmackDown Live and realize that the stipulation is made before the match happens that same night. Either way, I don't see why a street fight would mean anything really. The Cringe Brothers are going to get involved regardless, I'm sure. So, I honestly don't know what WWE has planned here. You know, we talked about this week about how Survivor Series has been predictable so far with the build and the teams coming together. It's been predictable. The qualifying matches on SmackDown, it's been predictable. This throws a wrench into the gears and makes things a little bit unpredictable. I don't know what WWE wants to do for Survivor Series. I know that they fear, I don't even know why they booked it if this was the case. I know they fear there isn't enough star power with Mahal and Brock Lesnar. I know that. They're thinking about adding John Cena as a special guest referee to that match to amp up the star power. Now, if they don't get Cena, or if Cena can't do it, which we don't know yet, you know, there's 2 weeks before Survivor Series, we haven't heard a peep from Cena, or anything of Cena being involved in this match. Maybe WWE is going to go with Styles and Lesnar. But I talked about this on Friday. Why didn't they give it to Nakamura if they knew this is the direction they wanted to go? Because I'm sure a lot of people would have loved to see Nakamura and Lesnar. And if they give it to Styles, why would you bury AJ Styles like that? Why would you bury the WWE title like that? I don't mind seeing Jinder buried, because the title's already fucking lower than shit. So having him being buried by Brock Lesnar actually would be very entertaining. But to see Styles buried by Brock Lesnar, he doesn't deserve that. He doesn't deserve that at all. Or we talked about Jinder could beat AJ Styles. He could ultimately be fed AJ Styles and then pull out a victory against Brock Lesnar and then go into India looking like a fucking Superman. He beat Styles, he retained the title, he beat Lesnar and beat the Beast. Then he goes to India as the WWE champion. Look at me. Look at me. I hope that's not the case. I really hope that's not the case. You know? Or Jinder could be hurt. One of the reasons they said that the match is being booked is because Jinder has been seen wearing kinesio tape, that he has a shoulder injury. We don't know how bad the shoulder injury really is. We don't know. I don't know what is going on. But all I know is WWE needs to take the title of Jinder Mahal. That much we know. But one thing I failed to mention, and I want to mention it here. Can you imagine You know, we went through Nakamura losing twice to Jinder Mahal. We went through SummerSlam where he was, you know, the product of outside interference. And then we went into Hell in a Cell where he was beaten clean. So Nakamura lost twice to Jinder Mahal. We're just now getting over that. I don't think people are really going to take too well to AJ Styles losing to Jinder Mahal. You know, Jinder Mahal, in my honest opinion, is having a direct effect on the SmackDown rating. It all starts at the top. I've been saying this for months. It all starts at the top. If what you got at the top isn't entertaining, or if what you got at the top is what people don't want to see, then people aren't going to watch the show. Nobody gives a shit about Jinder Mahal. If you have Jinder lose to AJ Styles, you're doing the right thing. If AJ Styles is the one losing to Jinder Mahal and being fed to Jinder Mahal just to butter him up for Brock Lesnar, and then Jinder goes on to beat Brock Lesnar, you're doing so much damage, I can't even begin to fathom what the outcome is going to be as far as ratings go. People are just now getting over the loss to Nakamura. I don't think people are going to be that welcoming to AJ Styles losing to Jinder Mahal. I really don't. And I think more exodus of people watching SmackDown Live will happen if AJ Styles loses clean. So WWE needs to be very careful here. So I don't know what they're going to do as far as this match or what their plans are for Survivor Series, but they got to do something, and that something is taking the title off of Jinder Mahal. That needs to be grade A priority for WWE. Moving on here, man. We got a few more stories to get through here before we wrap up part 2 of episode 194 of Off the Script for this Saturday. WWE not interested in signing Toni Storm. You're going to break my heart already, WWE. Toni Storm. Toni Storm. Toni Storm, man. My favorite from the Mae Young Classic. Following the Mae Young Classic tournament, there were several women that stood out. And a few names seemed obvious choices to get a contract with WWE. A few names, Shayna Baszler, Kairi Sane, for example, have been signed. But there's one fan favorite that is still a free agent. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that 22-year-old Toni Storm has yet to be offered a contract by WWE. This is very bizarre because she's young, a good worker, and was well-liked by everyone backstage during the tournament. She also was over with the fans that were in attendance for the tournament. Both Storm and best friend Piper Niven, were told after the tournament by WWE that they would be in touch with them, but the belief is that there has been no contact since the Mae Young Classic tournament finale. It should be noted that if WWE reaches out to them, then we might not know about it because the talent is oftentimes told to keep things under wraps. Word sometimes get out when promoters are informed that a talent is no longer taking bookings after a certain date. In Storm's case, she is still working regularly in Japan for the Stardom promotion, so there's no sign of her going to WWE in the immediate future. And that's what it has to do with. WWE, probably told her, wrap up what you're doing. We would love to have you. We would love to make you the face of the women's division. Wrap up what you're doing in Stardom, however long it's going to take. Do what you got to do. You're 22 years old. The time is fucking there. She got all the time in the world to make her way to WWE. It doesn't necessarily have to happen now, Look at it this way. She builds her resume and continues to build her resume. The more money she will be asking for when she comes to the WWE. It's a good business move. WWE is very interested in Toni Storm. I think there might be a few screws loose if they aren't. Toni Storm was one of the best things coming out of the Mae Young Classic. I was introduced to someone I've never seen before, and I was very, very, very impressed with what I've seen. So hopefully Toni Storm, one of these days, will be working in NXT and will be the face of that women's division. Finally, guys, we're going to end with this here. Major update on Neville. Is Vince McMahon now getting involved? As reported by Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer, Neville has been unhappy with the WWE for a while, and the boiling point was reached before the October 9th edition of Monday Night Raw. Neville reportedly walked out after learning that he is going to lose to Enzo again, and the walkout led to a lot of changes for that day's show where Kalisto ended up winning the Cruiserweight Championship. Neville was pushed hard as the king of the Cruiserweights. Neville won the Cruiserweight title twice in a span of almost a year and was booked as an unstoppable force in the division. However, he reportedly wanted to move up the card and was not permitted by WWE's top brass. He was also very unhappy after his match with Austin Aries at WrestleMania 33 because it was cut from the DVD. Not being included on the DVD means no royalty checks for Neville or Austin Aries. Almost a month after walking out of WWE, Neville remains employed even after 3 major superstars were released earlier this week. Emma, Darren Young, and Summer Rae were all released on Monday, with many fans wondering if WWE will announce Neville's departure. However, Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated reported that Neville was one of the superstars discussed in the recent budget meetings. Neville and his salary have impacted the WWE payroll, but Vince McMahon is looking to draw out his contract. It means the WWE is not going to release Neville and will let his contract expire. Vince McMahon reportedly still believes the philosophy passed on to him by his father. Vince McMahon Sr. in the 1960s philosophy states, "We'll be done with you when we're done with you." With Neville remaining under contract with the WWE, he is not allowed to work for any wrestling promotions. Neville is not the only superstar to get his contract drawn out by Vince McMahon of the WWE. CM Punk walked out of the WWE in January 2014, but he got released 6 months later when his contract expired. Same thing happened to Ryback in May of last year when he was sent home due to a contract dispute. He was released from the WWE 3 months later. There was no word on how long Neville's contract is currently with the WWE, so you get paid to sit home. You get paid to sit home. You sitting home is only a positive. Your fan or your marketability is not going to go anywhere. Your superstardom isn't going to go anywhere, because as soon as you are able to do what you got to do, there'll be people jumping at the fact, oh, that Neville's a free agent. Let's get him. Let's book him. So you're getting paid to sit home, relax, recuperate, spend time with the family, get yourself right, and you're still getting paid by WWE because they don't want any backlash from this. They'll release you when they want. So what? You're unhappy there. You ain't missing WWE. Sitting home, I am sure, is probably better than being embarrassed on 205 Live. To Neville anyway. There might be some schmuck who wants that opportunity, so be it. Neville is worth more than that. We know he's worth more than that. The fans know, he knows, everybody knows. WWE doesn't know. All he wanted was to be moved up the card. Is that so much to ask? So he said, fuck you. So now he's getting paid to sit home, and when his contract is expired, he's going to go work somewhere else. And then WWE's going to look like a bunch of fools because they tied down one of the best guys they have on that roster. So Neville, I don't want to talk about him no more. He ain't coming back to the WWE. He's done. I would be shocked if Vince McMahon cares so much about Neville and steps in, gets involved, talks him out of it, and brings him back to the WWE and gives him what he wants. Done. Neville ain't coming back to the WWE. I'm getting out of here, man. Thank you guys so much. This is Off the Script, 194 Part 2. Look for Part 3 tomorrow. As always, if you enjoy the video, hit that thumbs up, and I'll see you right back here on Off the Script. I'll talk to you later.